Thanks so much for staying with us here on The Pulse. You're welcome back. Now, most developed countries have identities that even children are able to identify, own up, and start working at it immediately they are introduced to it. Now, these identities did not come on a silver platter, but rather through intensive planning and implementation of those plans. Now, take America, for example. They have the American dream that all citizens and even expatriates sometimes try to identify with and work to it to improve their living conditions. Ghana, through the National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, has tried over the years to follow suit by setting long and short-term development goals, but implementation has always been thwarted by various governments due to politicization of the final blueprint of the NDPC. By this time around, they are initiating monthly dialogues to ensure people own up to the various plans and strategies, devoid of partisan politics on topical national issues, which they believe will go a long way in the sustainability and implementation. Now, 14 sessions have been planned from May 2019 to June 2020, so it looks like it's already started. They are here with us in the studio to throw more light on it, and Mr. Alfred Kwesi Opoku is a development planner and president of the Ghana Institute of Planners. He's also a member of the National Development Planning Commission. Welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you very much.
So we have an American dream. Do you have a Ghana dream?
We have a Ghana dream.
Which is?
Ghana at 100. And that is where we hope to become not a middle income group anymore, but within the higher income group countries. And the parameters are there. To be in a higher income bracket, a certain percentage of your people, 70% and above, should have education. That's the minimum. Your infrastructure, road, health facilities, schools, and everything should be at a level where it's conducive for learning. Water, for example, every home must have connected. Toilets should be in the homes. If it is not possible to be in the home, there's a standard. For example, in a public toilet, every 30 people should be in one drop hole. In the communities, one pipe stand should have about 300 people, and so on. They are all standards there. But we are aiming towards every house getting connected to these facilities. Health facilities should be within 5-kilometer radius of the people. Road network should be such that you can move within 5 minutes or 15 minutes from your home to the net within the 5-kilometer radius. So we have a structure where if you call yourself a higher income country, all the standards are there. And therefore we are aiming that everybody will have that in mind. And then you'll be working towards that so that it will not be like somewhere in the books that you must know, but it's a common thing that is on the market for everybody to understand and know.
Well, that's debatable. People would still say that indeed it doesn't look like we have a clear Ghanaian dream that even children would work up to and look up to and, you know, start working towards it. But what happened to our Vision 2020? Are we on course for next year?
Yeah, Vision 2020 was even brought down a little earlier because the targets that were to be achieved by 2020 was achieved earlier. And therefore, we were quite on course in terms of getting to the middle income, lower middle income bracket. We got there earlier than the 2020. What followed next was the 40-year development plan. Luckily, for example, as a president of Ghana Institute of Planners, was part of preparing it. I mean, in terms of we advocated for it to be done. We had support from Busak. Now that I'm a commissioner at NDPC, there's no way we are throwing it out. In fact, we have not thrown it out. We are now breaking it down into readable and friendly versions so that people will take it up. There were a few things that had to be changed. The new commissioners have edited it and are turning around in such a way that it will be implementable. So luckily for us, you are not throwing it away now. If you're going to get these kind of continuities, continuation of plans and programs, then we are heading towards a very beautiful end. And that is why when you say 40-year plan, people wonder what is 40 and what is 30. Now we are saying Ghana at 100. Yes. So that it is easier to know that you'll be 100 years at a certain time.
So is it not because you cannot achieve the 40-year development plan, so now you are extending it and making a Ghana at 100?
No, it's the same 40 years.
It's pretty confusing.
No, it's the same 40 years. Okay. The 40 years was going to end in 2057. Okay. And so when you say Ghana at 100, it also ended the same at 2057. But the difference was that earlier on, it had a title, Development Plan, 40-year Development Plan,
yes.
and there was a problem technically with it. When you say development plan, it means that you are telling me how many schools I should build in 40 years, at which location, and at what size. And that was a little problematic. Why? Because in 40 years, if I didn't build it now, would I need the same size of the classroom you asked me to build 40 years ago? And would the location still be the same place? And do we still need classroom in 40 years? You know, and those kind of thing. But if we say Vision 2020, Vision 40, or Ghana at 100, it means that we still have the target of getting everybody at school. But at that time, if I build a classroom in the next 10 years, it may not be at the same location. The priority location has changed. And therefore, calling it Ghana at 100 makes it flexible for any other person to continue from where it was, the previous one left it off. So that is how we call it Ghana at 100. But nothing has changed in terms of time and implementing and targets. It's the same thing.
From where you sit, you know, every time there's a change of government, most things are thrown out of the window and a new thing is started, even though we had a vision in place. Thankfully, you're saying that we achieved most of the things before 2020. But how sure are we that what we are putting in place now will also not be thrown out of the window? Let's say if 2020 there's a change of government, or after that, how we make
well,
sure
that is what we are starting to do something. There are a number of suggestions. People think that let us take it to Parliament, put a law on it. But laws are made by man, and man can decide not to follow. Yes. But we are making it a mass acceptance kind of a policy. This series of things that NDPC is doing now is to ensure that everybody understands it. That we say Ghana at 100, we said we're going to get this thing. Let everybody come in and accept it and push whoever is coming to take over. So that if they are changing the rules, the public, not an individual, not a group of people, would come around and question, but everybody should be involved in asking the question. That is why NDPC is now doing all these public things that we're going to talk about. For example, by constitution, there should be 40 people that constitute the NDPC. It's been made 43 by including other specialized groups like Ghana Institute of Planners. What is happening is that the knowledge and the practice of development shouldn't be left to only these 43 people. They can't have all what is all. So let everybody come and share the vision with us, understand it, and push it forward. So that even if this NDPC is not there, the next NDPC will know that the public would ask of them, what have you done with that, the way you are asking me. Yes. You know, so we are beginning something new, continue what is past, or what the previous government left down for us. Luckily for us, there were some people within this NDPC who have served in the previous one. Okay. And I have also worked with the NDPC as not as a commissioner, but even as a staff of the Planning Institute. So I cannot become a commissioner now and decide to throw away things I have helped prepare and to put in place. So there's a continuity, and I'm happy with that I'm part of it.
So it looks like if some of the members are maintained, even when there's a change of government, it also helps with the continuity.
That is it, you know. And so we're going to have a good thing in continuing to do what we must do.
Okay. Yeah. So then it brings us into the public dialogue. Right. Very interesting, but I would want to know how Ghana would look like in 100. I would ask you that, but we'll push shelf it for now. But let's talk about this public dialogue on long-term development plan. Yeah. What form is it going to take? Tell us a bit about it.
Right now, we have had one earlier, that was an introductory one, talking about how we want to look like at 100, and we also look at how many plans have worked, why it worked and why it didn't work. Okay. And for the speaker at that time explained to us that about three series of times, development plans in Ghana has worked. At that time, there were certain factors. Corruption was low, there was tax payment was a little higher, people were paying their taxes, and there was a mass acceptance of what was needed to pretend. There was also leadership that was driving it. Now, those that didn't work, if we look at the background, we realize that it wasn't anything, the enforcing agency or the leadership that would drive the thing was a little not there, let me put it that way. And so, if you want a plan to develop, to be implemented, In Ghana, we have the history to know what plan and how a plan should be implemented. Leadership, drive, and making it popular and everybody participating in that. So this time we're going to talk about modernizing infrastructure for accelerated development. We are having Ghana at 100 in mind.
Yes.
And we want to see, at that time, at the 100, we have to be a higher income country, as I said earlier. And higher income country has its parameters. What makes you a higher income country? And so we are getting ourselves towards that. Infrastructure include everything, development, every facility that will help economic growth. Roads, it has several modes.
Good roads, not just roads.
Right. Good roads, well maintained. Not only after 3 years it's gone down. Railway line, fast moving, electric ones, air travel, you know, local from Kumasi to Accra, from Accra to Tamale, you know, expanding from to Ho and all other places. We're also thinking about sea transport.
Yeah.
The Akosombo Dam can help us transport goods from the port all the way to Bwepe and all that kind of things, you know. And so we are looking at all these things that should be part of it. I mentioned about health facilities that needs to be modernized and made sure and so on. Housing should be made available for being. Affordable. I disagree with the word affordable. The point is that is there any house in Ghana that's not affordable? A certain class of people can go and buy. Houses in Trasaco are not waiting for buyers. People pay the money now, so it's affordable. What I have in mind is that we should have houses by income level. Okay. So that a government will build a house, if it's timber or clay or what, the price is there. Go
and
according.
No matter your income, though, you still have to. It's difficult sometimes.
So housing by income level, so that based on your income, you get your type of house.
But if there's some subsidies, at least it will become affordable.
There will be the subsidies may be in the term, even where the subsidies are. For example, the statistics show that even when government subsidizes, there's just about 5% of Ghanaians that can support, their income can support that. Okay? So let their income, what makes a house more expensive? It's about the finishing, tiles on the floor, POP in the ceiling, type of roofing, and all those things. Meanwhile, people are simply in kiosks. I'm not saying that is the prescription, but you can get a concrete floor cement, a concrete floor for people to sleep on that, and they prefer. When he has money, let him put tiles there. But for now, give him a usable, you know, a floor, a house, kind of, so that he can stay in and instead of a kiosk, you know. So depending on the finishing, give it a kind of a house that somebody can stay in, livable home, you know, and that would be well. So all these things come to into the fact that let's not talk about affordable, but income, housing by income level.
But housing by income levels, we have some constructed and they are still sitting there. And we are
these were private, private people. If you're talking, I know where you are driving at, but I won't go there. I won't go there. There's a lot of political in and out about that, you know. So, and these are some of the things that we need to go away from that, because there were earlier houses that were also dropped, and new ones have been started. It's on the way of being dropped, because of all kinds of explanations that we have. And therefore, we need to look at that and decide.
But all these are learnings going forward, because it's in the plan. It will start, and then you would have these little problems and challenges and hurdles along the line. So these are things that, even though we do not want to get into it, are things that I'm sure that the NDPC is drawing learnings from. Definitely.
We don't stop learning because the world does not stop teaching. Every day there's a teaching course that you must take. And somebody has said simply that the world is a university without walls. Everybody is a student, everybody's a professor. So we keep learning and sharing our ideas and going on. And that is why a forum like what we're having in mind is coming, that people come and share ideas, tell us what we need to do. We will tell you what is happening. We are inviting people who would come and who are not NDPC members, private practitioners in the country, come and speak. Let's share the ideas. Let's put it into the Ghana dream, Ghana at 100. This is where we want to go.
So what are they coming to speak about? The development plan?
No, this time they're going to talk about modernized infrastructure to fit the Ghana at 100, which has been picked from the 40-year plan, which is now called Ghana 100. So that had in mind Ghana becoming a higher income country at a certain point in time, and the expectation of Ghana as far as infrastructure is concerned. So it has been teased out of it, and they are going to he has prepared a whole document on that. Again, NDPC has looked at that document, over 400 pages. We have edited it, given our comments, and he has included all the comments in it, and therefore it's becoming a working document now. We're going to prepare an implementation plan towards that. The next thing is funding, of course. But at least we have not thrown that document away. It's worth keeping, it's worth reading, it's worth implementing bit by bit. So that from now on, any infrastructure plan or implementation infrastructure plan that's going to happen in the country must come out of that document, which is also coming from the Ghana the 100 document, so that we have the broad one and the series of it, so that if we take one and we are going forward, we know that we are all moving towards a particular point.
Okay, so the Ghana 100 document has been set in motion already?
Let me say that it hasn't been thrown away. We have now just completed.
Has it been set in motion? Like, have we started implementing it?
Not implementation. We got the document early this year. We have now finished the editing, kind of, and therefore, but the infrastructure plan was also developed earlier. So the two of them were hand in hand going, and therefore it doesn't go away from it. The implementation of both of them are at the same level, and therefore we are working on that. Yeah.
But I would get into this public dialogue, but a lot of things comes up when it comes to this, especially when you're a planner. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have you because you're a planner. But you see, we're talking about development, plans, fine documents we have as a country. You all travel and you see all the nice things out there, hoping that we can get to, at least we watch it on TV, we don't get to travel. But we watch it on TV and we hope that Ghana will become that. But look at us, year in, year out, when it rains, and then we are flooded all over. And it comes down to planning. They say that people are building in waterways, even though people dispute it and say that elsewhere people are building on the sea, reclaiming the sea and building there and all that. But we are having to grapple with this every year. Where are the planners? You are there at the end.
I am there.
Do they not listen to you?
I am there. I like the last sentence. Do they not listen to you? I can give you some examples. A planner is a qualified technical civil servant who gives his ideas. The government paid for my school fees at the university, has employed me to sit down in the office and design a plan for him, whoever the government is. And then when they go out to implement, and I come back and say, government, the plan I made for you, somebody has built in the waterway. And the government, whose representative is the assembly, the metropolitan or district or municipal assembly, do not go and pull down that building.
But who watched for that building to even come up in the first place before you have to?
There are a series of things. For example, in Accra here, as of 2015, there were only 29 building inspectors for a whole AMA. At that time, I had not been distributed, I've been disseminated into about 16 assemblies now. There's a challenge there. People will struggle to build overnight. People will do whatever that they have to do to ensure that the building has got to a lintel level, that's ran up and go on. Whatever it may be, I have eventually, given the space and time I have, gone to see that this building is in the wrong way. It must be pulled down. Exactly. That is the law. I was citing an example. We are doing some football. I'm sure you understand what I'm going to say. A goal has been scored. And then the referee go and see the VAR and realize that, oh, even though the goal is scored, but it went through the wrong way. Do we say that because the goal has been scored, just allow it? No.
That's why we brought the VAR in the first place.
So, I'm the VAR. What I saw was that the goal, somebody has built in the waterway. Because I'm saying that there was a particular Oko Vanderpoy. He asked us to go and count number of houses and structures that were in waterways. We counted 900.
900.
And he gave them 3 months. Come and prove that they have a permit. Nobody came. So he started pulling houses down at his time. The first 300 went, and they went to court. The remaining 600 joined them. And the court of Ghana placed an injunction on the demolition. And newsmen, mass media, journalists stood up and said, human face, stop, stop, stop.
And political as
and,
well.
and so on. And even people in his own party warn him that if you lose the election, you will see.
Yeah.
So is it the planner who ensure that the structures in the waterway should remain, or the people of Ghana? So Ghana, we admire beautiful structure, plans, yes, but we don't desire it. We don't desire it. We don't want it done. The fact that somebody has finished building, but build it using the wrong method, and therefore let it be there. And so when water finds its own way and there's flooding, you say, where's the planner? I am there. I'm available. You don't want to take my word. That's about it.
Well, unfortunately, we'll be wrapping up shortly, but let's talk about the first. We've talked about the first dialogue. It was in May, thereabout. The second one, when is it happening?
27th of this month at Ghana Academy of Art and Sciences in here at 5 to 7. The speaker is one Charles Wachi.
Okay.
If anybody wants to join, he's welcome. It's free. Okay. Attendance is free. There will be other discussions. If you want to watch it on Facebook, we have hashtag NDF National Development Forum at NDPC Ghana. The same thing with Facebook, hashtag NDF NDPC Ghana, and so on. We welcome everybody. Your inputs. We have a WhatsApp number. While the meeting is going on, 050-960-315.
Okay.
If you call in, we take your question and we answer it for you, and so on. So these are things that are going to happen.
We'll definitely be part of it. Mr. Alfred Kwesi-Poku, I would love to have you back again. We'll definitely lobby for you to come back. He's a development planner and president, Ghana Institute of Planners, and a member of the NDPC as well. We're indeed grateful for your time here.